All right, I just talked about price. So exactly what would the price be, Tommy Curran? Quarterback contracts have skyrocketed and it will certainly cost a bunch. Since Lamar received the non-exclusive franchise tag, the Patriots would have to cough up 2 first-round picks and make Lamar one of the highest-paid quarterbacks in the NFL. And he reportedly wants that guaranteed Monday as well. All right, Ted Johnson is here in studio with me. You heard me reference Tom E. Curran. I'm not on the Lamar Jackson bring him to New England train, but Ted Johnson, I hear you might disagree with me.
Yes, I would disagree with you. I think it instantly he makes this team very, very relevant. And I would put, if Lamar Jackson was to come to this football team, I would kind of put it in the category of how I put the New York Jets right now, when I think evident, when it's a foregone conclusion that I think that, Aaron Rodgers, thank you, is going to the New York Jets. So if Aaron Rodgers goes to the New York Jets, I think they become instantly division, probably favorites and then Super Bowl contenders. And I think the same thing would happen if Lamar Jackson come here. If Lamar Jackson comes here, Tom, I just think there's just a lot of things that we worry about that we don't have to worry about. Who's going to be the left tackle? Who's going to be the third down back? Who's going to be the cornerback? I just think a lot of those things that we worry about are not going to be as important if Lamar's here because he covers up so many things.
I think we're still hooked on the 2019 Lamar, and we should be, because that was his first year as a starter, had 36 touchdowns, 7 picks. He ran for 1,205 yards. We've never seen anything like it. He lost in the playoffs, but he's followed that up with 1 Pro Bowl season since. Each of the last 2 years, he's missed the last 5 games. This is a player who wants $40 million a year. Fine. You're one of the better players in the league. You're 25 years old. You should command that. He's already turned his nose up to 3-33 by his accounting, guaranteed from the Baltimore Ravens. So if the Patriots are going to get in, they're going to give him $40 million a year. He hasn't finished either of the prior 2 seasons. He really hasn't had any kind of season that compares to 2019 since then. He had 16 touchdowns and 13 picks 2 years ago. I don't think that he immediately turns your team into a Super Bowl contender any more than he did for Baltimore.
Yeah, and I guess that's my fear, Ted, is that you look at him, and I think people are, like Curran said, they're so caught up in the year that he won the MVP, and then Harbaugh was the coach of the year. I think they had the defensive coach of the year in that same season. So it was an all-around team. I just don't know. He plays like a running back. He's hurt a lot. So what if he misses 5-6 games this season? That could be 5 or 6 losses. To me, I don't know that you add that many wins.
Plus prorate $40 million over 12 games as opposed to 17 games. And is he going to become more durable? Those are the things to me. Mm-hmm. Everybody can sit here and acknowledge that he is most likely the most explosive running quarterback in NFL history. The numbers bear it out. He is already 4th in total career yards rushing in like 88, 90 games. And it's absurd to see what he does. But I just don't think he's going to become more durable and a better passer.
Yeah, Ted, is he worth the money? Like, one thing, again, if the price was to come way down, maybe then you take a flyer on him. But for $40 million a year, is he worth it?
He's worth it, you guys.
Okay, why?
Just because he makes you relevant right now. And I just think the excitement.
But is it relevant or a contender?
I think both. You know what? Because I'd be curious to see what Bill Belichick and Bill O'Brien can do with him. Look, Bill O'Brien's worked with Bryce Young down there in Alabama. I saw what he did with Deshaun Watson when he was the head coach down there in Houston. The RPOs, the play action that you can do with him. And Bill Belichick, in his heart of hearts, is really still kind of playing football. I think like it's 1985 with the way he likes to run the football. This gives you a dynamic runner. As well as, look, I get that he gets hurt a lot. Yep. I think you can dial that back a little bit. You can dial back some of the design quarterback runs. I think he can get better as a pocket passer as his career goes on. Not too, dissimilar to kind of how I think Russell Wilson, although he's not playing good now, he got to be a better a pocket passer as his career went on. I think that the same thing can be true for Lamar Jackson.
It can be, but will he ever be accurate? Bill says accuracy and decision-making are everything to him as a quarterback in what he wants in a quarterback. But now, because the league has evolved, it has to be, can you make a play after a play breaks down? And to me, when you weigh those things and who they have here, right now, Mac Jones at $2 million salary for each of the next 2 years, $4 million cap hits compared to $40 million for Lamar Jackson, plus the 2 first-round picks you're giving up after almost a decade of pissing away first- and second-round picks. I'm like, look, if you want to gamble, if you want to push your chips in, that's fine. If you want to just incrementally, like I saw the Patriots do it before, climb up and be measured, I like that way because you don't bottom out. You talk about relevant. How relevant will they be if there's a freaking Sunday night football game and you got, I can't even make, Zappy, it's starting quarterback?
I hear what you're saying because of the injuries. I get it. Go ahead.
Oh, I just want to ask you, I do agree with you one part, the relevancy, but maybe the relevancy in that we've talked all this time about how they need a player that defenses would have to account for. They would have to account for Lamar Jackson. But to Curran's point, when you look at what he's got around him, can he elevate everything that's around him? And is this roster built for someone like Lamar Jackson?
I mean, that's probably one of the biggest questions with Lamar. I mean, you look at kind of the wide receivers he's had there in Baltimore, none really stand out, right? I mean, there's not a lot of them that you'd say, okay, he made this guy better. I get it. But, it's, I don't know. At this point in kind of what I'm seeing with the roster, the way it's being constructed, I just feel like Lamar coming here would make a lot of what we kind of quabbled about with the roster a moot point. And Bill, here's the thing. Bill's always had problems with mobile quarterbacks. He's the most mobile quarterback you could have. Don't you want a guy that you have a tough time defending against, that style of quarterback, as your quarterback? That's what I think Bill should be looking at.
Curran and I welcome WBAL's Brent Harris, who has covered Lamar and the Ravens for a long time. Well, first and foremost, it seems like people here seem to think Lamar Jackson's top 5 quarterback would absolutely turn the Patriots into a Super Bowl contending team. If he's that good, Brent, why haven't the Ravens done more to keep him around?
Well, he is really good, obviously a former MVP, and the number that always jumps out is 45-16. That is his record as a starter. And remember this, because I've heard a lot about just what he's able to do, and he makes everybody else around him better, and he can take a bad offense and make it that much more explosive. The Ravens have spent the least amount of money on offense than any team in the NFL over the last 5 years. They have not given Lamar Jackson a whole lot of weapons. So what he has done to me is even more impressive. And really, the only reason a deal has not gotten done is because Lamar Jackson wants guaranteed money. And Deshaun Watson got that, $230 million. That's the bar. That's what Lamar Jackson is going for. And what I have said from the beginning, this is more than just Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. This is about the NFLPA and the owners. This is going to be a battle that Lamar Jackson is willing to fight for. But in the end, does he have enough leverage? That's what it's going to come down to. In the end, is he willing to sit out an entire season on principle of trying to get guaranteed money? And that's kind of where it's heading right now.
It was interesting when he tweeted just a couple days back in response to a report, Brent, that it was 3 and what was it? 3 years and
133?
133. So basically that's $41 million a year, and that seemed to me to be guaranteed. Yeah, it's $100 million shy of Deshaun Watson, but that was above and beyond what anyone would have given to somebody who's a semi-deviant. So to me, why does that not seem equitable for a guy who hasn't finished the last 2 seasons?
I think he feels he's worth more than a 3-year deal. I think that's what it comes down to. I'm with you, Tom, because 133 over 3 years, he would be a free agent, a full free agent before he turns 30, and he'd have another crack at that big contract. So to me, guaranteed money, put that franchise tag away and go play for 3 on 133 makes a ton of sense. I think the Ravens want to lock him up longer than that. I think they want to get the 5-year deal done. They're rolling the dice on the non-exclusive in hopes somebody else makes an offer. The Ravens, I think, are ready to match any offer and be able to hold him there in Baltimore long term.
Listen to this. Bear with me for a second. I'm going to hit you with some numbers. 2019 was the gold standard for quarterbacking in the last 4 years, really. 36 touchdowns, 7 picks, runs for 1205. Since then, his QBR, that year was 83. Then it's gone 67, 50, 59. And his approximate value, which is a good measure, has gone from 25 that year, which is off the charts, from 18 to 11 and 12. By way of comparison, Mac Jones's AV has been 14 as a rookie, which is pretty good, 9, which not that good last year. Is he still getting better, Lamar Jackson? Or maybe is he living off of 2019 a little bit?
I mean, those are great numbers to live off of, for sure. He has not gotten back to that level. I do think he's getting better. Again, only 26 years old. The Ravens have not invested into their offense. You can still look at his numbers, career 64% completion percentage. He's got 100 touchdowns now for his career. I do think the ceiling is still higher than what we have seen. But when it comes to dual threat, there is nobody that has been better than him, and I don't see anybody that's going to be better than what he is as a dual threat quarterback. I think there's a lot of head coaches, there's a lot of offensive coordinators that wish they could start game planning with somebody like Lamar Jackson under center.
Brent, if you were the Patriots, would you not only give him the guaranteed money that he is looking for, but also give up, they'd probably have to give up like Mac Jones and a first-round pick, or Mac Jones and 2 first-round picks. Like, is Lamar Jackson worth all of that?
I think he is. I think he changes your franchise. He's a difference maker on the field. We have seen that. Certainly Bill Belichick and the Patriots have seen that at times over the years. I think Belichick has been a fan of Lamar Jackson from afar. Does he want to be a fan of Lamar up close? The 2 first rounds, I don't think for teams should scare anybody. Look what the Carolina Panthers just gave up to move up on the draft board to select a college quarterback who has been really unproven at the NFL level. 2 firsts, 2 seconds, and a really good wide receiver. So 2 firsts is not a big deal. Anybody's willing to give up a first to get a quarterback in the first round. You're just asking for a second first-round pick. So I don't think that's a big deal. I think the Patriots would jump on that in a heartbeat if they could get the money. The money's the issue, because I think Lamar Jackson wants somewhere in that Deshaun Watson guaranteed money range. I don't know anybody's willing to give it to him.
And you have to throw all that money right into an escrow account and fund that contract. Will Lamar Jackson, before he turns 30, play somewhere else other than Baltimore? We just have a second.
And by the way, I think that's more for Mr. Kraft than Bill Belichick when you talk about the guaranteed money. I don't know, because I wonder if the feelings are hurt, Tom. I just, this whole franchise thing has been tough, and we have not heard from Lamar. I don't know how Lamar feels. Nobody does except Lamar, his mom, and those close to him. It'll be interesting to see when Lamar finally does talk, if there's any hurt feelings or if he feels like he can be here long term.